Field advantage in hockey during the regular season, for some reason, is significant. But in the playoffs, home field ice or home ice in hockey is insignificant. Hockey is the only sport in the world where you can be the most extraordinary team all season long. And then when you get to the playoffs, there's a 50% chance that a lower seeded team can beat you. It's not because they have a better team. It's not because they got better coaches, better players. A goalie is so significant in hockey that he can completely eliminate any advantage that you may have. The Bruins last year won the Stanley Cup because Mr. Thomas was spectacular in goal. They had one night where they were really, really bad offensively, and then the next night they'd have a great goalie game where Thomas would shut you out and, cover up your deficiencies. The Bruins are a strange team right now. Last night playing against Montreal, they make so many mistakes in that game. They stayed the game in control most of the way. And then Zdeno Chara decides to get lazy with a puck and get stripped of it, and all of a sudden it's 3-3. And then, of course, the Bruins win in overtime, but, they're not the same team that they were a year ago. But the story right now in the NHL, no question. No question. They've been the play of the Rangers and the play of the Red Wings. And they're on pace to meet each other in the Stanley Cup, hopefully. Chicago Blackhawks, one of the most talented teams in the league, has lost 9 games in a row. The Blackhawks were champions 2 years ago. They have the youngest, most explosive lines in all of hockey. They're playing the Rangers tonight, and I'll check the score in a minute, but it's pretty frightening how quickly things can turn in that sport. And I know they're celebrating Detroit winning all these games in a row at home, and it's a big deal, and so on and so forth. But it's funny to me that home ice in the playoffs in hockey don't mean anything. And in the next 50 days, we're going to find out the seedings. We're going to find out what all that stuff means. And then in the postseason, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing because teams go on the road and win all the time. In fact, last season, in the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7 in Vancouver, what happened? The Bruins went to Vancouver and shut them out, won the Stanley Cup. Crazy sport, that hockey. But I figured since it's a free preview week on DirecTV, I'd watch a few matches just to see what I've been missing. And I like the fact that my Rangers reminded me of 1994. They play great defense. They have a goaltender who clearly is the best goalie in the world in Lundqvist. Let's see if they can bring it home. That'd be great. Giants and the Rangers winning championships. Another bad. You know what I don't like about the world of sports? What I don't like about the world of sports is that we seem to, when a person is trying to get back into sport, for example, someone, let's say like Allen Iverson's trying to get back into the NBA, or Terrell Owens is trying to get back into the NFL, or Randy Moss is getting back into the NFL. In this time frame right now, every person in sports media criticizes these guys. They criticize them for every single thing that they did while they were trying to play or while they played, all the bad things they said, all the stupid antics they did on the field and off the field. And basically, it's like we don't forgive anything. Oh, look at that. Chicago's beating the Rangers 4-1, so I guess maybe Chicago's going to end their losing streak tonight. And in a way, to go back to the very first story that I was talking to you about tonight, and Gary Carter. I remember when the Mets played Houston in the postseason, the media was all over Gary Carter because they said Gary Carter apparently was accusing Mike Scott of junking the baseball because, they were saying that the ball was moving too much and therefore the ball was messed up. And he got criticized the whole playoff series, which the Mets eventually won, in dramatic fashion. And that was, people talked about during that whole season of '86 was that Gary Carter complaining about the ball being moved and he was a baby and, blah, blah, blah. And then Mike Scott kept striking him out, just kept blowing him away. And, it was just humorous. And now he's gone. We eulogize him so positively. And here we are again with the same situation with Allen Iverson, Terrell Owens, and Randy Moss, all trying to get back into their respective professional sports, and the media is killing them. Nobody wants Iverson because Iverson's this. Nobody wants T.O. because T.O.'s that. Randy Moss is this. It's crazy. Especially in this day and age where we keep pointing out every night that teams need a point guard to win, and teams don't have point guards are losing. Or in the NFL, the game has changed so much where the receivers can just run freely up and down the field. A Randy Moss or a Terrell Owens, what team wouldn't want those? Randy Moss's last season, yeah, it was terrible. Terrell Owens' last season, he caught 70 balls and caught 9 touchdown passes. I can understand people don't like their stuff off the field and don't want to have them on their teams. But talent wins championships. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. And we'll be back on 89.7 KLAS FM after this. .7 KLAS FM. My name is Richard Harris, and as per usual, when you try something new, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. So I guess we'll try it another time, another day. Now I want to talk to you about 2 quick bizarre stories in the world of sports that just happened recently. One is a tragedy, and one is just bizarre. And what I mean is a tragedy, it's just completely just blows my mind that this happened at this university. Texas Christian University has a proud history of sports. Texas Christian University has put people into the National Football League like LaDainian Tomlinson, put people in the National Football League like Jerry Evans. I believe Doak Walker is a Texas Christian University player. Bottom line is, what has happened to Texas Christian University this past week is scary. For a report to come out that says that over 17 people from that university just got busted for possibly selling drugs to undercover officers is shocking, because this is not big time school. This is not one of those, USC type schools that have like 20,000 students, recruits, the top athletes in the world, and recruits kids who sometimes can't let go of their street or can't let go of the neighborhoods they came from. This is a school known for academics, for Christian values. And to now be embroiled in a scandal where 4 football players and other students at the school have been busted selling drugs. And they're now trying to say that there's more students on the football team that could be involved in this because they may not have been selling, but they may have been buying. It's nuts. College athletics will never escape scandal, no matter what. If it's quiet on the college football landscape, then something's happening in the basketball landscape. If it's quiet in the basketball, there's something wrong with the wrestling, something wrong with the lacrosse, something wrong with the softball, something wrong with something else. It's really sad. It is really sad. Another college thing. How about the University of West Virginia? West Virginia decided, you know what? Instead of going to court, we're going to pay $20 million to get out of the Big East thing so we could play in the Big 12. And no one in the Big East ain't complaining. Remember the Big East was complaining, we're not letting West Virginia out of that contract no matter what. And what did they do? The first opportunity, that money was offered. Now who knows where all that money came from and how much of it was paid by whom? That's kind of scandalous, don't you think? They made all this stink about they're not going to let West Virginia out of that contract, and then all of a sudden, first opportunity to let them out of the contract, as soon as somebody threw some money around, they were free to go. Not too pleased by that, folks. And I know that's just apples and oranges, but again, college football is just that big. It's just that big. It's that important in so many communities, so many cities around the world, around this country. It pays a lot of bills in a lot of towns. And you see all these conferences aligning, Conference USA and the Mountain West aligning, conferences, schools that have no type of affiliation. Makes absolutely no sense. But then again, money talks. Another bizarre story. There's this boxer named Luis Lazarte. He's from Argentina. He was fighting last weekend against a Filipino fighter named Jonmiel Casmiero. I'm sure I'm butchering his name, but I happened to see these highlights last week, and I couldn't stop laughing, but then when I realized how serious the stuff was, then I realized it wasn't that funny. But apparently, Mr. Lazarte threatened the referee during the fight. Told him not to stop the fight or he'd harm him or something crazy like that. Meanwhile, he was getting his tail kicked in the 9th and 10th round to the point where the referee had to stop the fight because, essentially, he was getting his butt whooped. And a huge riot ensued. People started throwing things into the ring, and then people rushed the ring. Both fighters got hurt. Fans in the ring got hurt. People got hurt all over the place. And you're like, the guy was getting his butt. What are you doing? The referee correctly stopped the fight because this guy wasn't throwing any punches back, and he was getting pounded. And it wasn't even in his country. And now he's banned for life fighting in any type of fight for the IBF. Are you serious? You threaten a referee, you're getting your butt kicked, the referee's trying to save you, and then the fans ambushed the ring. Remember when Riddick Bowe fought Andrew Galata? And Galata punched Riddick Bowe below the belt like 3 different times to the point where like Riddick Bowe's management team ran into the ring and they all tried to beat up Andrew Galata because they thought he was doing it on purpose. Hitting the man in the man region 3 different times after being warned each time. What a bizarre world of sports that we have. And we'll be back on 89.7 KLAS FM after this.
For all of your auto repairs, including expert collision work, LA Radiator on Santa Monica Boulevard is the place to go. Located just a few steps east